pets. Don't get them. It is not fair to the pet.
We have 6 pets.
We have 6 pets.
Why? You can't literally afford life. We're taking on that responsibility.
One's not ours.
Yeah, we foster.
What are they?
Dog.
Folks, unfortunately, there's a huge trend in people that cannot afford their pets. Just like everything else has gotten more expensive, the cost of pet care has gotten so expensive, people are having to give up their pets, or maybe even a worse situation where they keep their pets, but the pets are suffering because people can't afford the pet care, the cost of the vet, the clinics, all the different things here. But let's finish up with this clip here, and then we'll move on to some other news. Big economic news to get into today, folks. A lot of things hitting the fan, so to speak, for lack of a better term. The housing market still massively bad. We'll get into that, but first let's just finish up this little clip right here.
Do they all have pet insurance?
No.
Then fuck you. What happens if they need a surgery that you cannot afford?
They can take it out of your pay if they have to, or
Well, that's not affording.
well, I haven't had a major surgery.
Yet.
I know. I know.
There's
Everything
just
else, like,
one time a dog has to eat something and it gets stuck in their intestine.
no, I know, but
If you can't afford pet insurance, you can't afford pets. That is like the basic new reality here.
I'm not gonna follow that. I would go into way more debt for a pet.
Yeah, what if you get denied the fucking debt?
I didn't even know pet insurance.
Go in debt for a pet. It rhymes, but it's not cute. It's not funny, folks. What this guy's saying, the host of this channel, and I'm not sure if this is the original place where it came from, but Cable Hammer Composer, basically hammering these people because they can't afford pet care. And these people are saying, well, if we have to go into debt, if something happens to our pet, we'll do it. And this guy's like, the host of the show is like, if you can't afford, if you have to go into debt to take care of your pets, don't get pets. If you can't afford pet insurance, don't get pets. Because if something does happen and you don't get approved for the debt, if you don't get the financing or you don't have the credit available on a credit card to take care of your pet, don't do it. And we're seeing a big surge in pets going back to the shelters, and that's a very sad thing. But that's just part of the big problem of everything costing too much, the cost of living being too high, the fact that people have to finance everything now, from their groceries to buy now, pay later. Most holiday shopping is done now either on one, a credit card, or on two, a buy now, pay later app, folks. And it's looking like it's about ready to get worse. And we're going to talk about what's going to happen here later on in this video. But first, something interesting came out here. This is a Times article. And what they're talking about is the market for economists is over. They're talking about a bull market, but just in general, the job of an economist is almost over because, one, people no longer trust what the professional economists are saying, because for years they've been saying how great the economy is, how the economy is growing, but yet most people, they don't feel like the economy is good for them. Is it good for Wall Street? Absolutely. Is it good for the top 10%? Absolutely. Is it good for most people? Well, of course not. When most people are living paycheck to paycheck, 70% of plus of people are saying the economy is not good. So they're looking at these economists and they're not believing them. They're thinking it's a joke. They're thinking that these economists are just talking about the billionaire class, and they're not talking about the average working person. And that's why economists may no longer have jobs here in the near future. I mean, let me know what you think down in comments. Do the professional economists that you see on the nightly news, on the business channel, the news networks, do you think they're actually serving the working class person? Are they getting things correct? Or is it better just to hear from the average person, and we can see that the economy is not good for most people? Now, if you invest, if you're that type of person that has that type of mind, you can actually still make money from this. The people that are making the most money right now are already in the top 10%. In fact, if you look at the housing market, we have over 1 in 4 homes now being bought by a private investment company. So the home sales that are still happening right now, a big portion of those are from people that are already pretty financially well off. And just to dip a little bit more into the housing market here for a second here. Housing market just posted the worst selling season this spring. That was the worst selling season in 13 years. So sales are way down. I mean, a 13-year low, that's pretty big. But even those sales, the few sales that there were, over 1 in 4 of them was an investor buying a home. And that means somebody that wanted to buy a home to live in, an owner-occupied home, was probably outbid, or the investor bought the home out from under them. But first, let's get back into the pet situation, because it's a topic that I really don't think is covered enough. And it's another sign of what's happening with the economy, with the cost of living, with the average working person. And it's gotten worse, folks. Animal shelters are crowded as high costs squeeze pet owners. And a lot of shelters now are reporting not just they're at capacity, they're over capacity. They're building overflow cages outside of the actual buildings to hold the excess number of pets. Quote, millions of animals are stuck in increasingly cramped shelters because their owners are struggling to pay rising vet bills and other expenses, folks. So what are they doing? They're giving up their pets. Just another sign of what's happening with the real economy. Not Wall Street, not the stock market, not the billionaires. They're doing just fine. The markets are just fine. Most of the stocks are owned by the top 10%. We all know that. It's about 90%. I think closer to 93% right now. But the average person that owns a pet, they can't even afford their pets anymore. And that's the real sad part about it. Let's hear from a few other people, and then I've got some crazy economic news to get into here in just a few minutes later in this video. All right, next, don't let the piercings distract you. Listen to what this person is saying. This is Trash Gremlin 420. I love the screen name. Listen to what she's saying about these people that can't afford pets.
It's not classist to tell someone to
Sorry, I'm rewind it here.
I'm only going to say this once. It's not classist to tell someone to take their pet to the vet. If you can't afford animals, don't have one. This might be controversial. If you can't afford basic health care for your pets, do not get them.
It's not controversial. It's a fact. If you can't afford basic health care, don't get a pet. Because chances are something's going to happen. You could have the nice, healthy-looking dog or whatever pet you're going to get. It could look healthy, but something is going to happen, definitely.
My dog just had a $600 teeth bill.
$600 teeth bill. Oh my goodness, folks. So not only can't people afford their own bills, of course they can't afford their pets' bills, right? Millions of people can't afford paying their loans back, especially student loans, but it's spreading in auto loans, mortgages, credit card payments. The delinquencies are rising. And I know this sounds like a broken record, but they're still rising. If they weren't rising, if they were dropping or getting paid off, or people were paying off their debt, I would report that, but that's not what's happening. So it's continuing to get worse. The average person is even more stressed out now financially. If we look at all the latest surveys, the cost of living has gone nowhere but higher, maybe a little bit of a slower pace than last year, but still it's going higher. But actually, if you look at the past 3 months, inflation has accelerated. All right, so it's bad, and worse no matter where you look for most people. Not everybody. There are some people still making money, still paying off their debt, staying out of debt, gaining equity in their home. But prices are starting to drop now in many markets too. So home sellers are looking at their home equity, and in some cases, equity is dropping as prices are starting to drop, and rents are even dropping here. Let's dip into this real quick here. What's happening with rents in some cities? Take a look at Denver. All right, and I guess this is maybe considered a sprinkle of good news, because we've got Denver. Prices dropped down to 2022 levels, folks. So a 3-year drop with 20,000 new units on the market. Prices are down now about 3.7%. So a bit of good news, folks. So it gets to a point where when people are so loaded up on debt that something has to give, and like it's happening in Denver, other cities as well, rents are dropping because people can't afford the high rents. The landlords, the homeowners have no choice but to drop the rents. Unless you want your home, your unit, your apartment sitting vacant, you're going to have to drop the rent to what people can afford. And we're starting to see some of that now. Things are shifting. Things are turning in this economy. I mean, much slower than a lot of people would like. Of course, a lot of people would like to see a crash, like the housing market crash in 2007, 8, 9. People want that to happen again. They want there to be a overnight correction, or a correction that happens in a few months. This is happening very slowly because the banks aren't failing like they were back then. Back then, with the banks failing, there was a panic mode. People put their homes on the market. It was a chaotic rush to sell your home. because the market was changing so quickly, because the banks, even the bank's survivability was in question back then. Now, that's not really a concern. There are some other concerns out there, but it's not a concern that the banks are going to fail. We've been told that they're going to keep the banks propped up and operational no matter what. So we're not seeing the panic that we did back then, but we are seeing some shifts and some changes in the economy. All right, this is Julia A 120230. Interesting screen name, but she's got some more lessons for those of you that are thinking about getting a pet and you know you'll have to go into debt to pay for the vet bills. Don't do it, folks. And also, a free kitten or a free pet is not free, because if you're looking for a free animal, a free pet, that means you probably really shouldn't get one, because you're looking for a free pet. You probably can't afford the vet bills. Take a listen.
Stop posting that you were looking for a free kitten on Facebook because you can't afford to get one from a shelter. Okay? I don't know who needs to hear this, but I'm going to scream if I see it one more time. Free kittens are not free. If you're getting a free kitten from somebody who just let their unspayed cat walk around in the neighborhood, then those kittens are most likely going to have fleas. They're most likely going to have worms or parasites. They're going to come with a whole assortment of issues.
Free kittens are going to have problems. Like she said, they're probably from somebody that didn't take care of them, an unplanned litter, and they're going to have fleas. They're going to have probably worms. Let's continue.
And even if they don't, even if by some miracle you find the one responsible owner who just lets their unaltered cat walk around in the neighborhood, you are still going to be on the hook for all of its vet bills. You are still going to have to get all of its feline, leukemia, distemper, all of its early shots, all of its degunking, all of the medical stuff, including the spay and neuter, which is also really expensive. Okay? Go to a shelter.
True point. If you don't want a whole bunch of more pets, get them spayed and neutered, folks, because then you're going to be really in trouble. If you can't afford one pet and you have a whole litter unexpectedly, big trouble, folks.
Go to a shelter. Find a kitten that's going to cost you $100, $150, maybe even $200, but it's going to have all of its shots done. It's probably going to already be neutered. You are not going to deal with fleas. You are not going to deal with worms. You are not going to deal with any of the stuff that is associated and almost always a thing with free kittens. There is no such thing as a free kitten. Okay.
All right, so people are emotional about this. I mean, it's tough to see pets that suffer. I watched this TV show about people getting evicted and home cleanups, like hoarders and things like that. People are living in filth because they just, one, physically they can't take care of their pets, but two, they can't even afford it. They can't afford the things that a pet needs. So it's sad to see the pets suffer. It's sad to see children suffer when people are poor, when they don't have enough money to buy food. And it's really sad, folks. And this is the economic reality here. We're still seeing the super rich, the top 10%, thriving like never before. But the wealth is being sucked. It's being transferred from the bottom 70% up to the top, especially the top 1%, even out to the top 10%. And it's done by design, folks. I think this is the way things were set up for this to happen, for the people at the top to make the money off of the people that are actually working hard. In some cases, working two jobs, multiple gig economy jobs, multiple side hustle jobs. But let's wrap it up with this, folks. What I said a few minutes ago about no risk in the banks, look out, because that may be changing. Protect your savings now. This is how they put it over at Money Talks News. The FDIC protection could soon be ending, folks. If the FDIC protection is wiped out or eliminated, how much longer are people going to trust that these banks are going to be able to withstand the next crisis where loans start really going bad en masse, or maybe just the existing loans staying where they're at, especially the commercial loans that are going bad? Without FDIC insurance, will that cause a panic and possibly bank runs? Nobody knows, but stay on your toes, folks. Stay on this channel. Make sure you're subscribed, alerts, notifications set here, because it's going to be interesting. The second half of the year, it's going to be a lot of fireworks. You thought the first half was crazy with all the things that happened or didn't happen. Remember, the cost of living was supposed to come down. Prices were supposed to come down. The wars were going to end. None of that happened, folks. The stimulus checks that they promised everybody, because we're going to save so much money because the tariffs are going to make everybody rich. Remember all the all the pie in the sky, unicorn type of stuff that was being told to us. We told you right here, look out, none of it was going to happen. And look what's happened. We've been correct. Inflation's still going up. Cost of living's still going up. Things are getting harder for most people. Let me know what you think down in the comments. The pet situation. Are people buying pets when they shouldn't buy pets? And it's sad when people can't afford their pet care. The pets have to suffer because people can't afford the vet bills or insurance. And it's only getting worse, folks. So brace for it. As always, keep stacking. Make sure you're on this channel because you're going to learn how to benefit, how to invest, and make money during this time. Keep stacking, everybody. Bye for now. Big love. Peace.